He finally got the contact details of the girl he liked, but just then, a large truck drove by, and a gust of wind blew the paper with her contact information away. He quickly asked her to write again, but she firmly refused. That was a sign fate's telling us to back off. It turned out she had always believed in destiny. She thought that the wind blowing the note away was a sign from above that they weren't meant to be together. But he insisted, believing that since fate had brought them together, they were meant to be, to prove whether they were truly meant for each other. She pulled out a pen and a $5 bill. She asked him to write down his contact information and address, though he didn't understand why he complied. But to his surprise, he didn't even look at the bill. She just walked straight to a nearby shop and used a $5 bill to buy a pack of gum with his contact information still on it. Confused, he chased after her asking what she was doing, but she just smiled and said, "But that $5 bill makes its way back into my hands. I'll be able to call you. And when you hear my voice on the other end, then you'll believe in fate, won't you?" He didn't believe in destiny, and the chances of this coincidence happening seemed too slim. After all, he had left his information, but she hadn't given him anything. So to make it fair, she took out a book titled Love in the Time of Cholera. She wasn't giving it to him though. Instead, she told him that she would write her name and contact details inside and leave the book at a random secondhand bookstore. If they were truly meant to be, he would find it and buy it. But he wasn't one to leave his future to something as uncertain as destiny. He believed in taking action, not waiting for fate to decide. Eventually, she was moved by his persistence and pulled him into a nearby hotel. She still wanted to leave things up to fate. They each took a separate elevator if they ended up on the same floor. Then she'd agreed to be with him, take a breath, and then when the door closes, hit a button. I don't understand this. You don't have to understand. You just have to have faith. Faith in what destiny? With that, she threw him one of her new gloves. As the elevator doors slowly closed, he stood there completely stunned, looking at the rows of elevator buttons, unsure what to do. In the end, he randomly pressed a floor button, unaware that it was the same floor she had chosen. As he anxiously waited for the elevator to reach his floor, it suddenly stopped on the 14th floor. A father and son stepped in, and to his surprise, the mischievous boy started pressing all the floor buttons. He was frustrated, but there was nothing he could do. When the elevator doors finally opened, she had already stepped out, and he hadn't even gotten the chance to explain. Meanwhile, she was completely unaware that he was stuck in the elevator. She waited at the exit expecting him to appear, but time passed, and he never showed up. She began to feel a sense of disappointment. Maybe this was the final answer that fate had given them. With a heavy heart, she decided to leave. But just as the elevator doors closed behind her, he stepped out of another elevator on the same floor. However, he was still too late. He had missed her again. Perhaps love sometimes requires waiting, but more than that, it needed action. He rushed to find her, scanning the crowd frantically, but she was nowhere to be found. Regret and sadness flooded him.